Good morning, my good people. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful morning this morning. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate your patience and hanging out with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning as we are with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com and YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and always have an awesome time speaking with you. We are coming off a fantastic night. We got a lot of great stuff coming up here on the show, and I am looking forward to having these conversations with you. We're going to start things off in today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. I was at Ma and Pa's yesterday and had the opportunity to see all the new stuff that Ma and Pa's has brought to us, all of their freeze-dried candy that bring back those flavors of my childhood. And if you're a kid right now, you're going to be spoiled with flavors. If you're an adult, well, then you're going to try these flavors, and it's going to remind you of the candies we had growing up as kids. So the Rainbow Rounds are there now at Ma and Pa's, the Fruit Bursts, as well as the Mambos, all there for you. So make sure, and the Brain Busters are there too. So make sure you go out to Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and get some awesome freeze-dried candy on top of all the kettle corn and popcorn and cotton candy and everything else that they have. And, of course, with Easter coming up, you want to make sure that you're filling up your Easter basket with the things that you love, and you're filling up the Easter basket of the ones that you love with some awesome treasures as well. So make sure you head off to Ma and Pa's today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, or you could simply say DT sent me this way. So with that being said, inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', we're going to start things off with the NFL. The transactional moves that have been happening in the NFL, they don't become officially official until tomorrow, but these moves, because Wednesday, March 13th, you can start officially putting everything through. So pending a physical and the actual official release of these, they will be enacted. But we could talk about a bunch of these moves that are allegedly going to be happening here this week, and I'm very excited to talk about them. There's a ton of them, folks, so we're going to get into all of that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we'll do that in hour number one. And then in hour number two, we're going to jump into the Bearcat Breakroom, and we'll have an opportunity to share the stories of the Binghamton Bearcats. And we'll be centering on the women's basketball team as they're coming off of the America East Tournament in a close loss that they took last night to Maine when they were in the Final Four of the America East Tournament. So we'll get into that conversation with them, and when I say them, we'll be talking with first the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, that being Bethann Shapiro-Ord at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and she will be followed by Denai Bowman, graduate guard on the team, who has made some incredible history in her collegiate time. So very excited to speak with Bethann as well as Denai coming up here starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in an all-new Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. And then we'll round out the show as we always do with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. Today's topic for the ingredients to success: wins coming in losses. Winning in losses. We'll be talking about exactly what that means later on in today's show around 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. So a lot of great stuff coming up where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you tuning in, and we thank you so much, as always, for finding us on social media: Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So however you're connected with the show, thank you for tuning in. As I said, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So however you've connected with us, we thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we get set to have the conversation on these NFL moves that are going to be affecting the entire country. A lot of big moves that are happening, a lot of starters that are moving around. So let's jump right into it. Don't want to waste a second of this. And a big time thanks to all of our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York for working with us every single day to try and help our Central and Upstate New York community to become a wonderful, wonderful home for so many people that are coming in and people that have lived here for years. So much appreciation to everybody that is working on making Central and Upstate New York so very special. And I thank everyone that has already made it so incredible. So big thanks to Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, as well as GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicolli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Lemoyne College Dolphins, the Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bob Bearcats. A lot of wonderful stuff with wonderful people. So many thanks to each and every single one of you for connecting here with the show. However you do that and connecting with our wonderful partners in the community. I appreciate that and treasure that so very much. So with that being said, let's hop into this NFL talk and different things that are going on inside of the National Football League. So the transactions that are happening here, there's already transactions that were happening this morning as we're here on March 12th. Aaron Jones has officially left the Green Bay Packers, and he signed a one-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones going to the Vikings on a one-year, $7 million contract as he moves forward. Sam Darnold also signed a one-year contract with Minnesota, the quarterback originally chosen by the Jets. So those moves being made here this morning. Darius Williams, who comes from the Jacksonville Jaguars, has signed a 3-year contract with the Los Angeles Rams. Darius Williams was released by Jacksonville, and so now he has signed with the Rams. Ironically, and albeit done in a different way, but the Rams got Jalen Ramsey, a defensive back from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now they have Darius Williams, another defensive back from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Got him differently, though. Jalen Ramsey, the corner, came over to the Rams in a trade that brought 2 first-round draft picks to the Jaguars. In the case of Darius Williams just signing his own contract and moving forward with the Los Angeles Rams here. Looking at some of these other pieces here, Tyrod Taylor signed a 2-year deal with the New York Jets, making him the backup quarterback for a nice insurance policy that the team is taking out, just in case anything happens, because, of course, we're in a situation right now where the the New York Jets are in a place where Aaron Rodgers played for about 5 minutes in his first game, and in playing for that short amount of time, they want to make sure that they have somebody that can lead them forward, and obviously they struggled last season with the multiple quarterbacks that they had and really not finding anybody that was putting them in a prime position. There were moments where certain quarterbacks looked okay, but nothing stayed consistent. So they brought in Tyrod Taylor, which is an interesting move, bringing in Tyrod Taylor to help out and back up Aaron Rodgers. So now 2 former starters are now going to be with each other in New York, New Jersey, where technically every time I say the New York Jets or the New York Giants, I always say they play in New Jersey. They play in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So that's the craziness about it all. They're the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants, but we don't, people just pretend it's New York. So Brandon McManus, and look forward to those write-ins. Brandon McManus, the kicker that came in for 1 year to Jacksonville, is now gone. He signed a 1-year, $3.6 million contract with the Washington Commanders, so he is officially gone. The question was, what is Jacksonville going to do? They got rid of Riley Patterson, who I got to cover when he was the Memphis Tigers kicker collegiately, and I was excited to have Riley Patterson there. I said maybe the Brandon McManus thing, they'll use it for a year, see if they can get to the Super Bowl. They did not get to the Super Bowl. They did not make the playoffs. And Brandon McManus is now going to be on another team, which opens that door that I had prognosticated before, that maybe they can make that phone call back to Riley Patterson, and I hope that they do. Joe Mixon, speaking of the Jaguars, Joe Mixon, starting running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, was released which cleared $6.1 million in cap space. They signed Zach Moss, who originally was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, to a 2-year, $8 million contract. So Joe Mixon, see, this is the thing where things start to get a little bit crazy when you start looking at some of these names that are just released, like Joe Mixon. And so Zach Moss going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Jalen Reagor signed a 1-year contract with New England after being drafted by Philadelphia and things never really working out there. Chase Edmonds signed a 1-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Noah Brown signed his contract extension with the Houston Texans. Looking at some of these other moves, Jacoby Brissett, who's been in a bunch of different places, is with the New England Patriots. He's been there before. He's been a Patriot. He's been a Colts. Been all over the place. Been a Dolphin. He signed a 1-year, $8 million contract with New England. And Noah Fant is going to be staying with the Seattle Seahawks, 2 years, $21 million contract. And this is obviously coming with Will Dissly being released by the team. So now Noah Fant might be the guy at tight end, which would give some help to fantasy football owners as we look at situations like the situation in Seattle where it was hard to draft any of their tight ends knowing how they were utilizing a bunch of them. Noah Fant, that's a massive contract for a tight end, $21 million contract. Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills, a quarterback, converted $14.875 million of his 2024 salary plus a $6 million roster bonus, clearing $16.7 million of cap with Buffalo. And when you listened to last week's show, Buffalo was in the negative. So now, that help by your quarterback, by your leader, definitely shows the rest of the team, hey, I'm going to clear this thing up, because the Buffalo Bills, where they now have $4.2 million to use, but I believe that they were behind at, I think it was around $9 million as of last week, and they now have money to use. So you look at the teams that are still in the negative. There was a bunch of them. Now there's only 3. San Francisco's got a clear cap space. They're $7.439 million in the negative, and then the New Orleans Saints are in the negative $9.362 million. And the Chargers were in the negative $16 million. Now they're more in the negative. The Chargers are $25.4 million in the negative right now. They have the worst cap situation of the 32 NFL franchises heading into 2024-25. The Commanders have spent some money. Like I said, Brandon McManus bringing in the kicker. They have the most money to spend, over $85 million. The Titans have over $80 million. The Patriots have 70+ million. The Colts have $60.5 million. The Bears have almost $59 million. The Texans have over $51 million. The Bengals have $48.2 million. The Seahawks have $46.83+ million. The Broncos have over $43 million. And rounding out the top 10 best situations in cap space going into the 24-25 season for the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals have almost $43 million to work with. And some of these other teams have started to spend. So Detroit has $33.85 million left. And the Jacksonville Jaguars had $29 million. They now have $5.4 million to work with. As I was talking with you, if they can't sign a long-term deal with Josh Allen, the edge rusher, the outside linebacker, if they can't sign a long-term deal with Josh Allen, he's going to account for most of that $29 million. So with 5 being left and him getting paid a little bit over 24, that makes perfect sense that they're in the situation I told you that they would be in. Ronald Darby, corner, was signed a 2-year contract with Jacksonville, so they let Darius Williams go, and they bring in Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby had played for, taking a look at this right now, he had played for the Denver Broncos prior to, and he's had 8 years out of Florida State in the NFL. So letting Darius Williams go and giving Ronald Darby a shout here, an opportunity. I want to look at this as we're going down the list here, and I'm looking at timing. A bunch of these moves were made today, and then when I started to get into, because Tyrod Taylor was technically put in today, or mentioned today, I should say. And then we have Brandon McManus, when I started talking about that happened yesterday. Looking at some more of the moves here, I mentioned Jacoby Brissett. Austin Eckler is going to be signing with the Washington Commanders, 2 years, $8.34 million contract. Remember when running backs were starting to make $10 million a year, over $10 million a year, and now Austin Eckler, 2 years making about breaking it. If you break it down, just brass tacks at $8.34 million, he's making a little over $4 million a year. Brian Burns, who was franchise tagged by the Panthers, is that edge rusher is going to be signing a 5-year, $141 million contract with the New York Giants. Crazy. So he was traded to the Giants from the Panthers for a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick, number 39 overall. So Carolina trying to get some draft capital back here. Durham Smythe is going to be staying with the Dolphins. He converted $2 million of his 2024 salary into a signing bonus, adding 3 void years, clearing $1.6 million for Miami. Juwan Jennings, a wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, was assigned a 1-year, $4.89 million tender by San Fran. I mentioned Jalen Ramsey. He's staying with the Dolphins. The corner converted $13.89 million of 2024 salary plus an $11 million roster bonus into a signing bonus, adding 1 void year, clearing $9.912 million of cap for the Miami Dolphins. So big for Jalen Ramsey there, clearing almost $20 million for the Dolphins. Will Dissly, who I had mentioned from the Seattle Seahawks, no longer on the team, released. He's going to sign a 3-year, $14 million contract with the Los Angeles Chargers, who had all those years with Antonio Gates, and now they have some time with Will Dissly that they're going to be able to spend here. And hopefully that'll work out for the team as they, get saddled up to move forward here in the grand scheme of things, as the Chargers have and I told you when the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh and this and that, I said, if he doesn't leave this year, I don't think he's going to leave college, and if it makes sense for him to go to LA. And where did he end up? I mean, he was with San Fran before. He was on the West Coast. It makes sense for him to go back to the West Coast. The Chargers opened up, and now he's back on the West Coast. Some of these other names, there's like I said, folks, there's a bunch of movement. That's why I wanted to spend the first hour of the show on this here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Feel free to write in and give your thoughts. We're talking about NFL moves that have been happening here as we get set for the 2024-25 season. Things can be made official on Wednesday, March 13th. AJ Epinesa, defensive end, signed a 2-year contract to stay in Buffalo. And taking a look at some of the other moves, and these moves are made from, like I was saying earlier, these are from this morning, yesterday, the day before. There's been a bunch of activity in the NFL. Carlton Davis, corner, was traded to the Lions from the Bucks with a 2024 6th-round pick and a 2025 6th-round pick for a 2024 3rd-round pick, number 73. So Carlton Davis, the corner, went to Detroit with 2 6th-round picks, one this year, one next year, just for the Bucks to get a 3rd-round pick this year, number 73 overall, 2024. Well, let's see what they do with that pick. And so, I mean, because that's the only thing that they got for it. Outside of that, and, obviously clearing some room, Devin Duvernay, wide receiver, is signing a 2-year, $8.5 million contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Duvernay was with the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's going to be with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I want to break this down by eventually I'm going to take a look at some of these other pieces of it, because there's a bunch of names that are out there, and there's a ton of movement, like I said, that's already happened. But Devin Duvernay coming to Jacksonville. Jacksonville bringing in Gabe Davis as well, which I'll talk about in a couple minutes here. But this, obviously looks like Calvin Ridley is going to be going elsewhere, even though his name has not been signed on to anything yet. Gardner Minshew, former Jacksonville quarterback, signed a 2-year, $25 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. So congratulations to Gardner Minshew, who did one heck of a job that was just one step out of the postseason with the Indianapolis Colts taking over for the majority of the season after rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson went down due to injury. God willing, Anthony Richardson's okay, but, that obviously shows you that there is no quarterback controversy here. There's no back and forth, that the Colts are all in on Anthony Richardson, and that they wanted to, and Gardner Minshew getting an opportunity to go elsewhere. That's great. I'm happy for him. That's a big contract and a big opportunity for him to showcase himself. People still don't give him respect, and I'll just tell him to keep watching. Gus Edwards, running back, Old Faithful to the Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Now he's not on the team. So now what happens when, J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, and I hope that these guys never get injured again. The Baltimore Ravens deal with injuries to running backs every single season, and they eventually have to rely on Gus Edwards, who starts the season as the number 2, 3, or 4 running back. He always becomes Old Faithful in these last, 3 years, and now he's not going to be on the team anymore. He's going to be a Charger, 2 years, $6.5 million contract. So no Austin Eckler. They're bringing in Gus. Let's see if they bring in somebody else. Devin Singletary signed a 3-year, $16.5 million contract with the New York Giants after they are not going to be doing anything with Saquon Barkley. And I told you, Saquon Barkley, coming out of his rookie contract, I said, I don't think that Saquon Barkley and the Giants are going to stay together. If that offensive line isn't helping him out and this team isn't moving forward, I can't see Saquon being a part of this team. And now Saquon is not going to be a part of this team. So that obviously came true. They're bringing in Devin Singletary, who was a Buffalo Bill and a Houston Texan. He likes to stay in those colors of red, white, and blue, and now he's going to another red, white, and blue as he signs a 3-year deal with the New York Giants. Pittsburgh has signed Cameron Johnston. A punter is going to be coming in here, and I want to make note of that here. Aaron Jones, who was released, as I mentioned before, as he signed with the Minnesota Vikings, released by Green Bay to clear over $5 million in cap space. Antonio Gibson from the Commanders is now going to the Patriots. The running back is on a 3-year, $11.25 million contract. Smart for the Patriots to go and get somebody a little bit younger and wasn't seemingly fitting in Washington anymore. Saquon Barkley, speaking of the Giants, is going 3 years, $37.75 million with Philadelphia. A running back finally making some good money after good running backs in the NFL have been treated with a lot of disrespect recently here, not getting a lot of money in these contracts now. And I know we're talking about, buku bucks, whatever we're discussing here, but the NFL in a situation where it just feels like they're not giving a lot of opportunity to running, a lot of respect to the running backs, I should say, that, here are these guys out here doing an incredible job, and then they're getting paid what is considered NFL peanuts, which is still millions of dollars, still more than many people will see in an entire lifetime, but the running back situation has not been given a lot of respect monetarily and been treated more like a dime a dozen. You look at guys that have proven themselves like Derrick Henry, and if he had stayed healthy, Austin Eckler, but you look at Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, bunch of these guys that have proven themselves, and yet a lot of them haven't seen good money. Saquon hopefully is going to change that for the running backs. 3-year, $37.75 million contract to see his former team twice a season with the Philadelphia Eagles facing off against the Giants. Kirk Cousins signed a mega deal, and Kirk Cousins, the question was, how many more years does he have left? Is he going to fit in Minnesota? I told you Kirk Cousins had a list of places that he could go to. He was drafted out of Michigan State back in 2012. In the 4th round, number 102 overall. He's been in the NFL for more than a decade, and now he's on a 4-year contract that is going to send Mr. Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. Huge opportunity for Kirky, and he has, now he's got more life in Atlanta, and they now have a quarterback. It seems like they're got away from Desmond Ridder, obviously, last year, and Now they went and brought in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins with the opportunity to hopefully turn the tide in a division that's seemingly wide open. 4-year contract, $180 million for Kirk Cousins. Awesome deal. In his 30s, getting a 4-year deal. I love it. Will Lutz, kicker, is going to be with the Denver Broncos on a 2-year contract. He's found his way around the NFL. Josh Jacobs, as they release Aaron Jones, they bring in Josh Jacobs on a 4-year, $48 million. Yet another running back getting some good change here. $48 million contract with the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs was put in a situation where he had to prove himself to the Raiders, and he more than did that, and then he proved himself again, and the Raiders still let him go. So, and I think they were allegedly making a play for Austin Eckler, and they didn't get him. So the Raiders got to figure out their backfield. Josh Jacobs is going to be a Green Bay Packer for 4 years, $48 million, big time. Congratulations to him with that. Bryce Huff, outside linebacker, signed a 3-year, $51.1 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, coming to them from the New York Jets. So a lot of moves happening here in the NFL, folks, and a lot of big things that are going to be shaking up the NFL. We're going to get to my thoughts on this after we do a little rundown of these names that I want. And there's a ton of names on this list. I can't go through every single one of them, but there are so many names that are here on this list that have already made moves that are going to be made official on tomorrow, for those of you watching live, Wednesday, March 13th. Darnell Savage, safety, signed a 3-year, $21.75 million contract with Jacksonville. So I said that I'd like to see Jacksonville work on their secondary. They've already brought in 2 players, 1 corner and 1 safety from their secondary. They let Darius Williams go, their corner. They bring in another corner. They let Rayshon Jenkins go, their safety. They bring in another safety. So they're already making those moves, which is good to see that they're not waiting on it. Gunnar Olszewski, wide receiver for the New York New York Giants, signing a 1-year contract. Christian Wilkins, who I covered in college when he was at Clemson, the defensive tackle, signed a 4-year, $110 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Gabe Davis, who I mentioned earlier, is coming to Jacksonville with Devin Duvernay. Duvernay is coming from the Ravens. Gabriel Davis is coming from the team that drafted him, the Buffalo Bills. I covered Gabe at UCF, so this is homecoming for me. This is a really cool situation. 3-year, $39 million contract to come to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so he'll be in town here soon. Tony Pollard, how about this? Tony Pollard leaving the Dallas Cowboys. I told you a few years ago that he was going to get the starting job over Ezekiel Elliott, and I think some of you probably thought I was crazy. He got the starting job over Zeke, and now he's leaving Dallas for Tennessee, who let go of Derrick Henry. They bring in a younger running back, but a different running back in Tony Pollard. 3-year, $24 million contract, which has got to piss off Derrick Henry because they would not re-sign Derrick Henry, yet they're giving $8 million a year on average to Tony Pollard to come in. DeAndre Swift, this is an interesting move, but Philly brought in Saquon. DeAndre Swift, who was drafted by the Lions high, ended up going to Philly last year. Now he's with Chicago. He's signing a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Chicago Bears, which is very interesting here. Michael Pittman Jr., who was on the franchise tag. This was good to see. I love, franchise tags, I feel like should just be a filler thing of like, let's lock it up. Let's make sure we're the ones that are negotiating with you. Let's put ourselves as a team, as a franchise in good positioning to sign a long-term deal, and then let's sign the long-term deal. Let's not just put you on the franchise tag, because I feel like that never works out well. You get franchised once or twice, and then eventually you're not on that team anymore. I feel like more often than not, in the case of Michael Pittman Jr., they franchise tagged him and bought some time and ended up signing an extension instead. So congratulations, Michael Pittman, coming out of his rookie contract, is now going to have a 3-year, $70 million contract extension with the Colts to stay there with Anthony Richardson and try and make some hay and do some good things. Greg Zuerlein, the kicker that's been around for 1,000,000 years, congrats to him on that, signed a 2-year, $8.4 million contract extension to remain a Jet. Zaire Franklin, that I covered at Syracuse and have covered with him being on the Colts. Zaire Franklin, outside linebacker, has signed a 3-year, $31.26 million contract extension with the Colts. The 7th-round draft pick who made the team, not surprised, became a captain, not surprised, now has a deal that is making him over $10 million on average per season. Big time congratulations to Zaire Franklin on that one. Mitch Morse, a center, is coming to the Jaguars on a 2-year, $10.5 million contract with Jacksonville. This could mean the release of Tyler Shatley, so we'll have to watch this closely. Russ the Bus signed a 1-year. This is insane. Russell Wilson went from being a Super Bowl caliber quarterback to injuring his thumb to what is going on in Seattle to they're not going to trade him to they are going to trade him to he goes to Denver for, at that time, head coach Nate Hackett that looked like he had made a massive splash right after he got hired. Russ the Bus wasn't himself. Now he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and he's signing a 1-year, $1.21 million. Think about that. How much money quarterbacks get paid. Russ the Bus Wilson is getting $1 million for 1 year. It's insane how things change in the NFL. But, I'm sure he has enough money to take care of himself. Baker Mayfield did enough to prove himself in Tampa to get an extension here. 3 years, $100 million for the resurgence of Baker Mayfield in the NFL. He's one of the best success stories of the NFL in his comeback here. So big time congratulations to him for that, making on average over $33 million a year. Foley Fatukasi, defensive end. This is happening again. This is the nightmarish stuff that happens in divisions, and it happens with the Jaguars and the Texans, as the Texans signed a 1-year contract with Fatukasi, the defensive end that got released from Jacksonville, is now going to be seen by Jacksonville twice a year, which is never fun because, when people get let go, sometimes they play their best games against those teams. Tyler Lockett signed a 2-year, $30 million restructured contract extension with Seattle to keep Lockett in Seattle and to also provide Seattle some wiggle room. Mac Jones, the number 15th overall quarterback chosen, or number 15 overall pick chosen in the 2021 NFL Draft, in the same year as Trevor Lawrence went number 1 to Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville has 2 2021 first-round NFL quarterback draft picks and 2 that were drafted in the top 15 overall, as Trevor Lawrence is their starter, and they felt like they needed to have somebody else backing him up that they felt maybe more comfortable with. So they're bringing in Mac Jones, who comes home, as Mac Jones is from Jacksonville, Florida, so we'll see how the fans respond to that, and including in preseason and in training camp. He was traded to Jacksonville for a 2024 6th-round pick, number 192, this season. So, Mac Jones for a 6th-round pick, I'll take it. Looking at Jerry Jeudy, I'd made mention of this. He's traded to the Cleveland Browns from the Denver Broncos for a 2024 5th-round pick, number 135, and 2024 6th-round pick, number 202. So, the Broncos are getting late-round picks, and Jerry Jeudy gets to go play with Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper, as well as Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, and David Njoku, who's finally being utilized by the Cleveland Browns. It's been long enough, so I'm happy that that's happening. John Cyprien, strong safety, retired from the NFL of the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Looking at some of these other moves that happened a few days ago, Chris Manhertz, who was with Jacksonville as a tight end, was released by the Denver Broncos. Amir Abdullah signed a 1-year, $1.85 million contract extension with the Raiders. Allen Robinson was released by Pittsburgh, the former Penn State alum that was drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars, now a free agent out there. Hunter Henry, the one bright spot in an offense that was very not great this past season, the New England Patriots signed a 3-year, $27 million contract extension. It's like low-key that the tight end position is becoming one of the more higher-paid positions. I'm mentioning guys that are making these like $8 to $10 million a year in extensions and whatnot. Hunter Henry, tight end for the Patriots, 3 years, $27 million extension. Congrats to him on that. That's awesome. Zach Martin converted offensive guard for the Cowboys, converted $16.25 of his $20 million of his 2024 salary into a signing bonus, adding one void year, clearing $13 million for the Dallas Cowboys. That was so nice of him for that, to do that. And outside of that, and John Cyprien signed a contract on March 7th with the Jaguars so that he could retire a Jaguar. He's from FIU. He was drafted in the second round, 33 overall back in 2013, and spent multiple years in the NFL. And Jonathan Cyprien. So it's cool to see that. Yeah, when I saw his name, I was like, oh, okay. Is that one of those deals where you see him come in to sign a contract and then retire so that they can officially retire with the team that they want to retire with? So that's pretty cool. So yeah, when we break it down and we take a look at it, the quarterbacks that have signed, Sam Darnold with Minnesota, Tyrod Taylor as the backup to the Jets, Jacoby Brissett in his return to the Patriots, Gardner Minshew going somewhat across country here, from Indy to the Raiders, as he will sign a 2-year deal there after his really fine job that he did with the Jaguars and even better with the Colts. Kirk Cousins is going to the Falcons, Russell Wilson to the Steelers, Baker Mayfield extended with the Bucks, Mitchell Trubisky signed a 2-year, $5.25 million contract with the Buffalo Bills to back up Josh Allen. Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz had signed on with the Rams. That was from during the season. So Mitch Trubisky was the last one that's done here in 2024. So taking a look by position to just summarize what we've been talking about here on the show, take a look at the running backs here. Aaron Jones is a Minnesota Viking. Zach Moss is a Bengal. Chase Edmonds, a Buck. Austin Eckler is a Commander. Gus Edwards is a Charger. Devin Singletary is a Giant. Antonio Gibson is a Patriot. Saquon Barkley is an Eagle. Josh Jacobs is a Packer. Tony Pollard is a Titan. These are big moves that are affecting reality and fantasy here as we step forward. These are big, substantial names. These are starters that are switching jerseys here, and DeAndre Swift is going to be a Bear now. In the wide receiver world, because there's still some wide receivers out there, and T. Higgins allegedly has asked for a trade after being franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals, so we'll see what happens there. Jalen Reagor, as I said, is a Patriot. Noah Brown signed with continued to go with the Houston Texans here. Devin Duvernay and Gabe Davis both going to Jacksonville, as I had mentioned. Michael Pittman Jr., a Colt. And Mike Evans signed a 2-year, $41 million contract extension. Absolute insanity. I thought that maybe he would be a Buffalo Bill, but that's a lot of money to sign him for. And Buffalo was currently at the time in the negative in their cap space. So Mike Evans staying with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a lot of money. A lot of money. Like I said, the tight end position seems to be creeping up the chart here on making some cash. Noah Fant signs an extension with the Seattle Seahawks, 2 years, $21 million. Will Dissly, 3 years, $14 million, leaving the Seahawks for the Chargers. And then I had made mention of Hunter Henry's 3-year, $27 million contract extension with the New England Patriots. Also want to make note here, Jonnu Smith, who made some hay with the Atlanta Falcons last year. Kyle Pitts now has the team to himself, and it looks like the new coaching regime is maybe going to focus on Kyle Pitts finally, out of Go Gators. And they let Jonnu Smith roll away here. 2 years, $8.4 million contract to go to the Miami Dolphins. And Zach feels so good at Ertz, went from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Arizona Cardinals, and now he's on a 1-year contract with the Washington Commanders. Zach Ertz is. And Dalton Schultz, who I still don't understand why the Cowboys let him go, went to another part of Texas from Dallas to Houston, and he signed a 3-year, $36 million contract extension. Like I said, low key here, there's some big money going to the tight end position. That's something to watch here. If that market is going to be jumping up like it is, how teams are going to be able to hold on to their tight ends now if this market's going to be jumping up the way that it does. On the offensive line, we have Nick Allegretti, guard, going 3 years, $16 million with the Washington Commanders. We also have Damian Lewis, a 4-year, $53 million contract at guard with the Carolina Panthers. Some movement going on here. John Runyon signed a 3-year, $30 million contract with the New York Giants. Jonah Jackson, also a guard, signed a 3-year, $51 million contract with the Rams. Lloyd Cushenberry, center, signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with the Tennessee Titans. The Eagles, Landon Dickerson, contract extension at offensive guard, 4 years, $84 million. So a lot of moves being made here. I want to check on the defensive line really quick here before we hop out of the conversation on transactions that will be made official tomorrow. Cleveland Farrell, defensive end for the Commanders, signed a 1-year contract, covered him in college with the Clemson Tigers. Some other moves here. Jeremiah Ledbetter, defensive tackle, signed an extension with the Jaguars, 1 year, $1.85 million. So we'll see what they're going to do with that. Marcus Davenport signed a 1-year, $6.5 million contract at D-end with the Detroit Lions. I mentioned A.J. Epinesa, who's staying with the Buffalo Bills. And I mentioned Christian Wilkins here, and Fatu Kasi, who was released by Jacksonville, who's now going to be with the Houston Texans for 1 year. And, of course, Chris Jones, ridiculous deal. 5-year, $158.75 million contract extension for the defensive tackle and Super Bowl champion Chris Jones to stay in Kansas City with $95 million in guaranteed money. I think the other highest one was it was a $95 million contract. Well, Chris Jones's contract is $95 million guaranteed. So that's just absolutely crazy. Linebacker, let's take a look at linebackers here. Kenneth Murray signed a 2-year, $15.5 million contract with the Titans. Titans making a lot of moves out here right now, and they also have a lot of money to spend. So shout out to the Titans for being aggressive and at the same time for being smart, because they still got a big old piggy bank left to go here. Malik Harrison signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens at linebacker. Aziz El-Shayar, a linebacker, signed a 3-year, $34 million contract with the Texans. I mentioned Brian Burns and what he is doing here already. And Leonard Floyd, outside linebacker, signed a 2-year, $20 million contract with the San Francisco 49ers, who still need to figure out their money situation overall. And Zaire Franklin getting an awesome extension coming out of Syracuse to stay with the Colts. Big time ups to the captain there, Zaire Franklin, the nation's leading tackler. So just incredible. In the secondary, I'd made mention of some of these guys like Darius Williams, who was released by Jacksonville, who's now found a home with the Rams, and Ronald Darby coming in at corner on a 2-year contract with Jacksonville to try and fill in that hole with Darius Williams. And then Jeff Okudah signed a 1-year, $4.75 million contract with the Texans at corner. Sean Bunting, corner, signed a 3-year, $25.5 million contract with the Cardinals. I mentioned Darnell Savage coming in at safety for the Jaguars after they let go of Rayshon Jenkins. Brandon Jones going to the Broncos. Safety, signed a 3-year, $20 million contract. And 1-year contract with the Jets. Isaiah Oliver at corner here. And then to go to special teams really quick. Just so much movement in the NFL, which I think is awesome here. And it's gonna be interesting to see how all these guys shake out. Brandon McManus, I mentioned. Will Lutz, I mentioned. Greg Zuerlein. Chase McLaughlin, kicker, signed a 3-year, $12.3 million. Let me hear it for the kicker. $4 million a year on average. Contract extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chase McLaughlin. Big time shout out. Let me hear it for the kickers. And Patrick Scales, a long snapper, signed an extension to stay with the Chicago Bears, 1 year, $1.377 million. Signed contract extension for Casey Kreiter to remain the long snapper of the Giants. And Fairbairn, the kicker of the Houston Texans, signed a 3-year, $15.9 million extension. Let me hear it for the kickers. $5 million there. Love it. Michael Badgley signed an extension to stay with the Lions. 1 year, $1.292 million to be their kicker. Cairo Santos, kicker for the Chicago Bears, is on a 4-year, $15.6 million extension, almost making $4 million a year for himself. And the Giants have re-signed, oh no, that happened earlier here, so don't worry about that. Cairo Santos was signed later on in December, but of 2024, Michael Badgley was the first kicker to be signed in the new year, who's going to be staying with the Detroit Lions. So that's a look at what's happening in the world of the NFL, the moves that are going on that will be made official this Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. But a ton of shakeup, ton of things going on in the NFL, and I wanted to get to it in hour number 1 to fill you in and let you know what's going on in the NFL and how the NFL is going to be changing here with these jerseys, and just a lot of difference that's going to be coming about. So excited to see it, and excited to see what this is going to do for each team and where it's going to take some of those teams that needed another piece or two, as well as where it's going to take some teams that are trying to rebuild and trying to do some things, and seeing swaps and, seeing situations of Aaron Jones going to Minnesota and Josh Jacobs coming to Green Bay, and just what this is all going to look like and how does that affect a guy like A.J. Dillon in Green Bay. So, a lot of storylines coming out of these moves that will be made official tomorrow. So we'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We'll be back in just a couple minutes after this fast break for an all-new Bearcat Breakroom featuring a double dose of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, starting off with Bethann Shapiro-Ord, their head coach, followed by their star Denai Bowman right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life. That's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And as you know, we have signed on a partnership that I have been working on for many years, and very proud to have the opportunity to have the Binghamton University Bearcats as exclusive multimedia marketing partners in our partnership to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, and the greater Binghamton Bearcat community. And we call that the Bearcat Breakroom here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we are featuring this morning Miss Bethann Shapiro-Ord, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, following their time in the America East Tournament. Bethann, how are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. The sun's out. We're on the bus and we're heading home, but not what we wanted. But what an incredible effort from this team.
Yeah, and I know you and I caught up last night. I know that this one was a heartbreaker, but also shows a different Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team coming in, different in a good way, different in evolution, in a game against Maine that might in the past have gotten more out of hand. This was a game that you had the lead going into the fourth quarter, and the game ends on just a couple possessions. Despite the loss, just what you could say, Bethann, about where your team is at and how this team has evolved to be competitive against the teams that maybe they weren't given a lot of credit going up against in the past.
Yeah, I think this year, this whole conference season, once we got through those four, that start of America East, we had been telling the team how much we believed in them and how good they were. And once they really believed, and we were halfway there. I just told them last night, your believing is half the battle, and you guys are there. Now it's just, getting over that, just taking it, just going after it, and just taking what you worked so hard for. I think this season, every time we played, whether it was Albany, the top three, we beat Vermont. Albany is a couple points both times we played them. Maine, same thing. It's they're right there, and I just think that with our young, we have freshmen playing, we have sophomores starting, and one graduate, which is obviously Denai Bowman, who you're going to be talking to soon, but we have so much to continue to build on, and I think that it's such a great opportunity, that we got to the semifinals, but we weren't happy with that. We won we weren't even thinking. We were just continue to win and keep dancing.
Yeah, and in that game, to go back into the game last night in the semis in the America East Tournament on the road against Maine, just what you saw, just what you're taking away. I know it's a tough loss. I know that it's a heartbreaker, but at the same time, it shows promise in the future. What are those initial kind of reactive thoughts that you've had about the game when you've broken it down?
Well, just the grit, the entire game. It just, as we said, the last few minutes, the last couple possessions, we just weren't able to get those huge boards. You can't let a team like Maine, who has so many weapons, take extra opportunities, and those are kind of backbreakers of the offensive rebounds they were able to get and score on, and then our turnovers, but the team just kept battling, till the end, and that was a huge takeaway at the fire and the passion that Denai Bowman doesn't show a lot of emotion, and you could see on the film, in the game, during the game, it was, you could see it, and then watching it again last night and watching it again right now, seeing her, the way she, her reactions and her passion and her, really honing in on our teammates and helping them out was just really incredible. And, Jaden Wells, I mean, just leaving it out there, doing everything she could. She had 25 points, but it was all the other things. She still had 4 boards and, 4 assists. I mean, and we asked her and Jagardi and Simon, who's one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, and like you said, here with Bethann Shapiro-Ord, the head coach of the Binghamton University Bearcats women's basketball program, coming off of their time in the semifinals of the America East Tourney. In order to get into the semifinals, obviously you had to win the game before, which also puts you on the road. Just what you can say about that game that you had going into it when you went up against Bryant on the road, and that gutted out, grit. You mentioned grit, and just the way that this team has responded this season. You came into the postseason winning 4 of your last 5 games in the regular season. You went on the road against Bryant, and you got that victory. Bring me into that game that set up the game against Maine, and just what you can say about your team and the work that they did to pull through the back end of the season, as well as that first game in the America East.
Yeah, we talked about, nobody else is having the end of the season on the road like we had. Like, we were set up. It was pretty rough, being at Maine the week before, and then at New Hampshire, and then to come home and start the America East tournament. But the girls, they never, they're in their classrooms, they're doing schoolwork, they're up late, they're taking tests after games. I mean, it's crazy what our kids have to do. And these aren't easy majors. I got Genevieve Bowman, who was tremendous last night, but she's in biomechanical engineering, and those, nobody gives them a break. They're not letting them just do things. So these kids have other things going on, not just, we're on the road and we're just playing basketball. They're literally studying all night and trying to stay fresh and be ready. But I tell you what, those games, being on the road, having that adversity, and people might not think that's adversity, but I don't know about you, but I don't know if I could do I can barely say some of the classes that Evie's in, let alone try to be ready for a test, that night or the night after or Monday morning when we get back at, real late on Sunday, from New Hampshire, the Maine New Hampshire game. So these kids, we kept them fresh as good as we could. My staff is incredible, of having a great game plan, and we had some wrinkles in there for Ryan, mixing some things up, having a great defensive, changing some things up on our defensive end. We had a great game plan, and it's because of my staff preparing. We just had the kids worry about staying, focused on themselves, being healthy, and staying fresh, and the staff was working relentlessly, whether it was the travel, whether it was the game prep, whether it was the scouting reports, video, film, everything. It was all hands on deck with my staff, and they're incredible people. And that was, that's how we got ready, and they did it. They did a great job sticking to the game plan, and added a lot of grit, because at the end of the game, you could try anything up, but it's who's going to get that rebound, who's going to make that play at the end of the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned, just what your team had to go through this season. At one point, at 2 points this season, there were losing streaks of 6 games in a row and 4 games in a row, and your team navigated out of both of those. We speak on, again, the grit and the resolve, and how this team is evolving at Binghamton with the Bearcats women's basketball program, and just what's happened since you've been there. I know you give credit to your staff and your student athletes. Going into, or coming out of, I should say, of the 6-game losing streak and the 4-game losing streak, to start winning on the road, like you said, in a tough schedule toward the tail end of the season. Just what you could say about that, because those losing streaks can, bite you, and they can continue to snowball, but you were able to stop not 1 but 2 of those losing streaks this season to have more positive basketball toward the end. Just what you saw out of your team and how you stopped those moments, what you did to change things, and how the team was able to bounce back in both situations.
Yeah, I would say, really credit to the players, credit to the leadership on my team, and again, my staff. Like, you know, it's not one person, it's not one thing, but um, it's a few things. It's a lot of selfless people that, they're still, like I'll give like Megan Casey, for instance. She had to pick it up when Denai was out for that month at the beginning of our conference season, and the kid goes out there and plays her hearts out. She had one game with 10 assists and moved, being able to work with Jaden and having some other young kids step up. But then when Denai came back, Megan had to step in and realize, okay, so now I'm going to be coming off the bench again. She didn't flinch. She didn't do a thing. She just wanted what was best for the team. Other situations, you could have a kid have a bad, that could turn a kid into a bad apple. You never know. But I don't have that. I have great kids. And as a leader, I'm so proud of them. And, sometimes when you do lose, it's not my first rodeo with having that having that happen. And you just got to keep grinding. Kids are still getting in the gym. They're still working at their craft, regardless, win or lose. They're getting in there, and that keeps getting them better and keeps getting them confidence. And the staff's working with them, showing them film, and showing how close we are, and you just got to keep reminding them of that. And then, there's sometimes there's ways you think, okay, I got to push them harder. You got to push them harder. You got to get on them. Well, kids are different today. You got to make adjustments too as a coach. And I realized that, I think I was at a point where maybe I am pushing them a little too much or getting on them a little too much. And, you got to read and feel what they need. And sometimes I listen. I mean, I do change a little bit, and I can have some really good people in my corner. My best player on the team, Denai Bowman. She'll tell me, she'll say something, and we'll talk about it. Denai, what we need to do for this team, or how's the team doing? She's trying to get herself together. And then I have Jaden Wells. I had a conversation with my captains to say, what do we need to do? What do I need to do to change, to help? What's going to be best for the team? And it's, I listen. I don't just think it's my way or the highway. You're not gonna be a successful coach if you do that. You need to surround yourself with not only great coaches, but also great players and people around you. And I don't just let them, I listen. And I try to get better every day.
That coming here from Bethann Shapiro-Ord, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team. Bethann, before we switch over to Denai Bowman here, I do want to take a look at the honors that have come to your team this season and in the America East all-conference selections. Denai Bowman, graduate guard, as well as redshirt sophomore guard Jaden Welts, and junior forward Genevieve Coleman, all named to all-conference for the America East for the 2023-24 season. Bowman repeated as a second-team selection to the conference and was chosen to the all-defensive team. Welts, second team, and Coleman was named to the third team. On top of that, Denai Bowman, taking a look at her history, is just the second ever Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball player to earn America East all-conference honors 4 times during her career. Andrea Holmes earned the same from 2009 through 2012. And then Bowman is also the first Binghamton player to be named to the America East all-defensive team 4 times during her career. And she came in tied with Alyssa James, who was chosen in 2016, 17, and 18, and now has the distinction of being the only Binghamton Bearcat women's basketball player to be in the America East all-defensive team all for 4 seasons, 4 times that she's had that experience. So making history nationally with that and making history at Binghamton. Just what you can say about Denai as well as Jaden and Genevieve, the honors that they've had and their representation of the Bearcats.
Yeah, you named some pretty pretty big time people in the history of Binghamton, and to know that her name is with those Hall of Famers, and Andrea Holmes. It's just such a it's such a great honor for obviously Denai, but also it's just mind blowing because she's done so much work. I mean, I just feel like all her hard work just continues to get her better, and it's a testament to her. I mean, the young lady came in here and never ever did anything but work her tail off in the classroom, on the court, and grew every year, and it's really just a testament to her. But to have those other names around her, nationally and in Binghamton history, is just really awesome for Denai, and just so proud of who she is as a person first and foremost. And I can't speak any higher about her. And last night we were even visiting. We were just talking about that first time I saw her in the gym, and she remembers the same gym. I remember the same gym. We were just talking about it, and how we were connected immediately. So one of the greatest opportunities for both of us. And then obviously Jaden Wells, her story, incredible. When she went through her freshman year of back surgery and coming back, and big comeback player of the year at the university, with all the athletes, and her grit, and just her passion, what she has done for this team, and her leadership as well. She's one of my captains. It's the first time I've named captains before the season, and her and Denai, and she was out there all the time. Same thing. Her and Denai are working and getting in the gym before practice, after practice. And she's a business major, and she's just she was just in a class just a few, when we first got on the bus. I used to try to go talk to her. She's like, I'm in a class, coach. I can't talk right now. No, sorry. And they're asking her questions. So you really have to be engaged. It's not like you're just sitting there listening. And then Genevieve Coleman, our local homegrown player, who, what an impressive effort she's done all season. A lot of the bigs in our league have been really, really tough players, and she's done such a tremendous job. The first time, second time we played Maine, she held Smith to 4 points, and she was able to do so many things for us. She did a great job last night and this entire season. And she's a worker too, along with her really, really tough academic schedule. So I'm just really lucky and really proud of those three, obviously. And then, you could have picked, a couple more kids, the 6-man award for Megan. I thought Kendall and Bella both could have been on the all-rookie team easily. And Ella Wanzer was right there with, her scoring. So there's a lot of really exciting things, but those three I'm really, really excited and proud of.
Yeah, no, and it's been incredible that there's, this amount of success and everything that's happened at Binghamton, and that there's that opportunity not only at the school and its history, but in the America East and hopefully nationally to have that recognition as well. And speaking of nationally, the final note before we have Denai on, Bethann, is that your team, although you're finished up here in the America East tournament, is in consideration for a national postseason game. There is the thought that we're not done seeing the Bearcats yet.
That would be so awesome, and yes, you're correct. It would be great, to end on an opportunity to still be playing in March, and have an opportunity to still win a championship. And if that's the case, if we we get into one of these tournaments. That's the plan, and unfinished business, and we're gonna get after it. And I'm really excited that there could be, and there hopefully will be another opportunity for this group of young ladies to be able to battle and look for trying to get a championship.
Bethann Shapiro-Ord, our fearless leader for the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program. Bethann, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your hard work and everything that you have done with this program since you came in to truly make it a special place to go to on and off the court. And with that being said, we're ready to have Denai on as well to talk about her experience. But thank you as always, Bethann.
Okay, thank you, Dan, and I'll put Denai on now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hello?
Hey, Denai, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing very well, and happy to have you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we shift over into our conversation with Denai Bowman here, Binghamton women's basketball graduate guard following the America East Tournament. Denai, there's a lot of different things in your history that we can get into, but do you ever have you taken a step back at all during your career and looked at the fact that, you are no matter what, and there is hope of a potential postseason opportunity beyond where we are right now for you this season, but do you ever reflect on the fact that you are one of the greatest Binghamton Bearcat student athletes in the history of the school?
Yeah, as of recently, I think when senior day came around this year, I definitely did a lot of reflecting on just all the accomplishments I had playing for Binghamton and all the work I've done and the stuff I put in and what I've achieved. So yeah, this year really hit me hard with that.
When you look back on your time with Binghamton and your decision to come to the Bearcats, just what you can say about the why. What was it about Binghamton that brought you in the first place? Why choose the Bearcats? Why choose this program? You've been so dedicated to the program. You obviously, like a lot of student athletes, navigated through COVID, navigated through unique situations and shortened seasons, and ultimately decided to stay. The transfer portal comes in, and you decide to stay with the Bearcats through all of that. So why have you continued to choose Binghamton?
Initially, it was just the connection that I instantly had with the team. It was something I felt that I didn't feel at other schools. So that was my real reason on coming. And then the reason on staying was also just the culture that was built around me. I wanted to stay somewhere and make some history here.
And to make something special with this program, the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team, do you feel at this point that whatever happens from here, that you have brought this program with your teammates to a place that has leveled up from where they were before?
Yeah, I would like to think so, for sure. I think we are in a much better place, and then each season we just continue to grow, and my teammates continue to grow as players. So yes, I would say it.
And for you, I mean, getting honored in the conference this season with your teammates, with Jaden Welts and Genevieve Coleman, just what that means to you, that not only you but multiple Bearcats had the opportunity to receive honors from the America East and did receive those all-conference selections, just what that means to experience history with your teammates.
No, that's great, because I see the work that they put in the off season and the preseason, the film that they're watching when they're getting in the gym. So I'm happy they got to display that to the conference, to the other coaches, to the players, and get rewarded for that.
Speaking here with Denai Bowman of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team in this live edition of the Bearcat Breakroom, coming to you throughout each month on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton. Denai, to go into last night's game, we talk about this team evolving, and like you said, you'd like to think that this team is leveling up and that they are moving forward in the right direction. Despite the loss to Maine on the road, I am seeing a different Binghamton team. I'm seeing a Binghamton team that is pushing to a place where maybe you didn't push to before, being in the lead after 3 quarters, having an opportunity in the fourth quarter to close out the game, despite the loss, it being just a couple possessions. It doesn't seem like Binghamton is far off from getting these victories. It felt like the taste of it was there last night. So to go back into the game on the road against Maine, where do you believe the Binghamton Bearcats program is at? And do you feel like you and your teammates could taste the fact that you were almost right there to the finale of the America East?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely thought we could taste it. I believe that we knew that we were right there. Things just happened in the stretch where we couldn't finish it out, but I know that now they know what that feels like. Now they know that they can do it. So preparing for next year, they just remember that feeling and it's completed.
How do you reflect back on the game last night? Did you leave it, in your opinion, was everything left out on the floor for you, everything exhausted that you possibly could do? How do you reflect on this being kind of a surreal moment that it's your last America East tournament?
It's very surreal. I think I did leave it all out there. I was happy that I had my parents there to support me during my last America East game. But of course, I always wish that I could have done more. But at the same time, I know I gave it everything I could.
And for you, Denai, we look at, like I said earlier on, we reflect back on history. You're just the second player in America East League history to earn all defensive honors 4 times in your career. And to do that, as well as being the second Binghamton women's basketball player to earn America East all-conference honors 4 times. So we look at the all-conference honors, we look at the all-defensive honors as well. His history made with Binghamton, history made in the America East. To know that you have been there for all conference throughout, and that specifically on the defensive side of things, you have received all defensive honors for the way that you played against multiple people in competition over many years. Just what this means to you to be an all-conference player, but to also be just the second player in the history of the America East in and of itself that's been honored for your defensive prowess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Since I started, defense was always the one thing that I was good at in basketball. So just taking that and perfecting that craft as well as my offensive craft, but really honing in on my defense because I know that's my strong suit. It has meant a lot to me, and it really paid off over the years.
We look at the defensive side of the ball. We live in a world, Denai, where it seems like, a lot of people want to take that last shot. A lot of people want to be flashy. Defense is something you can control. No matter how good you think you're shooting it, it may not go in every night, and you may struggle however you prepare. You could feel like you're taking good shots. It can feel good coming off of your hand, but ultimately everybody has a bad shooting night. Defense is something that no matter what happens, you can control your effort. Why did you always key in on defense? Why was that always important to you? And just what you can say and share in a world where selfishly a lot of people want to take the shot, you're somebody who's honed in on the defensive side.
It's exactly what you said. My offensive game wasn't always there, and it wasn't always complete. So I knew one thing with playing with any sport, like you can give 100% effort, and that's all defense is. So me just going out and playing on that end as hard as I could, doing everything I could to get the defensive stop. Eventually, it'll translate to offense.
And Denai, we know that the team, the Bearcats, are in consideration for a potential postseason game. Your thoughts on the fact that the team might not be done yet?
No, I think it's a great opportunity. It's just an opportunity for us to continue playing together, continue making memories, and just learning what we can still work, or what they can still work on for next year.
That coming here from Denai Bowman. Denai, in the Bearcat Breakroom, before I let you go, I want to play some rapid fire and let the people get to know your personality a little bit more and have some fun here as you guys are getting ready to come back on your bus trip from Maine back to the great state of New York and back to Binghamton University. So you and I will go back and forth. You get to put me on the hot seat. I get to put you on the hot seat. So I'll show you what it's like in the first question I have for you. We all know that your coach loves the long bus trips. So on the long bus trips with Bethann Shapiro-Ord, what is one thing that you've done to try and lighten up her spirits? Is there a dance party? Is there a movie? What is something that you as a team have done to try and either prank your coach or to get your coach to smile on a bus trip?
We've watched a few movies, and we also had some karaoke sessions during some bus trips.
Who's the best karaoke singer?
I will have to give it to Cameron Poirier.
Okay, all right. Is there a song that she sang that sticks out to you?
I forgot the name of the song. I feel like it was some Taylor Swift or Katy Perry. I get them confused. I'm not good with the music selection.
Fair enough. What's your first question for me?
Let's see. What is, I guess, your go-to song on the radio to go to commercial?
Oh man, what's my go-to song on the radio? It's hard because the radio plays so many songs that are the same over and over again. And I know that Swiftie fans might lose their mind, but I'm not trying to avidly listen to a Taylor Swift song. So I would say that, if it was, I guess right now I've been listening to, I got to give him credit, Justin Timberlake's songs Jealous and Drown from his new album have been pretty good.
Okay, nice.
I'll give him that. All right, Denai, I want to go back to the prank thing. Who is the best prankster on the team? Because in college, I played a lot of pranks. They were all in like good fun and with friends that I still have to this day. But who is the person that you think would be the best prankster or has been the best prankster to pull off something that really got somebody?
I will have to go. I wouldn't say we do many pranks, but if I had to pick someone, it would be Jaden, because she's just good at keeping things low key to herself and just pulling stuff off without nobody knowing.
Okay. Has she ever pulled something off on you?
No, not on me, but I've seen her with other people.
All right, fair enough. What's your next question for me?
Who was your favorite interviewer?
And my favorite person that I've done an interview with?
Yeah.
That's very tough. I would have to say we've had at this point, I think there's been over 5,000 guests on the show. And I would have to say, everybody's got a unique story and everybody has a unique personality. I would say probably, I know I've answered this a certain way with, it would be easy to pick Floyd Little and some of, the people that maybe I picked before. But I guess I'm going to throw a curveball and say that what I did with both of my grandmothers, because my grandfathers passed away when I was 6, is that with my grandmas, I started to record them. And even though it's not technically a wake-up call with Dan Tortora interview, I would say that, keeping their voice and hearing from them and talking to them about World War II and about my grandfathers and about their lives growing up, those are probably the stories that stick with me the most.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you. My last question for you, Denai, is you talked about the team has watched some movies. So if you could jump into any movie that you've ever seen and you could be a part of that universe, of that movie, what movie would you jump on screen to and why?
It will have to be Space Jam, but the one with Michael Jordan, not LeBron.
Yeah, because that one we don't regard as a real movie. It's okay. It's not real. So okay. So Space Jam. Why?
Yes.
Why would you pick Space Jam?
I just like the I guess the animation part of it all. Like it's technically like you could do odd things that aren't done in a real basketball game. So I like that part of it. Keeps it exciting.
Okay. I like that. I can appreciate that. So, and it also has good music. Hit 'em High is one of the best songs that has ever been made for a movie. So I would have to say that. All right, Denai, you get the final question. What is it?
Let's see. I don't know. Okay, I'll just hit you with the same thing. What movie would you jump into?
Oh well, Denai, I would want to be Spider-Man. So yeah, I would want to be. I was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as an extra, and so I was in the chase scene in the first 13 minutes of the movie. There's a chase scene with Paul Giamatti's character, and I come out of after there's like a 40 car pileup of New York NYPD vehicles, and I come out of the alleyway. So Spider-Man was always my favorite. So I would either want to be Spider-Man or Venom, and I definitely I'm still ready to do it. And the thing about it, Danae, is that I'm not one of those, Spider-Man that wants a stunt double. I'm like, no, hang me from the building, shoot me out of a cannon. I don't care. Like, I'm that person that would be hanging from the Empire State Building, and I'd call my mom on the phone, which is I think something Spider-Man would do. And I'd be like, hey mom, she'd be like, how's the set going? I'm like, good. She's like, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm going to take a picture and show you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. Just take a picture of New York City upside down. So, yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun to play Spider-Man if I had the opportunity to do that.
That's actually so cool. Now I know two people that were Spider-Man extras. So
who was the other one?
I don't know if you know Haley Moore. She was an alum 2 years ago, I think, from Binghamton.
And
she was in the first Spider-Man, and she was the baby that he saved from the apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She was the baby he saved?
Yeah.
Well, she has so much more clout than me. So, good for her. Good for her. That's amazing. I just went back and watched the first 5. So the first 3 with Toby, and then the 2 with Andrew Garfield. So that's pretty incredible that she was the baby. Did she tell you how they picked her?
So originally she did, because I was interested as well. Her mom was doing her brother, because she has a twin brother.
Yeah.
So they auditioned the brother, but they wanted Haley instead. So that's how she got picked. She just ended up doing it.
So she gets to, for the rest of her life, tell her brother that she was picked over him by Spider-Man to be in the movie and be saved. That's...
Yep.
I don't know how you make that better at a Thanksgiving dinner. You know what I mean, Danae? Do you give him the first crack at the turkey? I mean, what does he possibly get when she can just turn around and go, oh, she's like, oh, you got a job offer? That's great. Did Spider-Man save you from a building? No. Okay. So, I think I think she's got that ace in the hole card in every game for the rest of her life. That's nuts. So Danae Bowman here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom, celebrating the Binghamton Bearcats every single month in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and of course celebrating this graduate guard who will go down in history, hopefully with at least one more opportunity out there on the court, but will go down in history as one of the greatest Binghamton Bearcat student athletes ever, and one of the leaders in the history of women's basketball. Danae, it's been my honor to speak with you in person as well as on the phone, and I am just incredibly moved by the fact that you've done so much, yet you're always very humble and just talk from person to person. So keep that humbleness, keep that hunger, and I hope you get another game to play.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
You too.
Take care. That coming from Denai Bowman one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That is awesome. And what do you do? The mom, they're twins, and the mom auditioned the brother, and Sony was like, no, we're not feeling him, but you got another kid? Yeah, what's her story about? Why don't you bring her over here and see if we can make this make sense for us? That's pretty incredible. I feel really bad for the brother, and at the same time, I feel really good for the sister, and I think it makes for some good commentary within the family, and now I want to be a fly on the wall at the next Thanksgiving get-together. So, with that being said, this has been an all-new edition of the Bearcat Breakroom, which we have exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring the Binghamton University Bearcats in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and today we had the opportunity to spotlight a very hardworking, enthusiastic, and wonderful team full of awesome people, led by Bethann Shapiro-Ord, speaking of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program, and of course, one of their stars in history, Miss Denai Bowman, and so many awesome student athletes on the team, and appreciate them all. And Denai, for her leadership and her hard work and coming to Binghamton, and like she said, she came to Binghamton because she had more of a connection with the team than anywhere else, and she's just been an amazing star for the Binghamton Bearcats, and it's an honor to have her in the Southern Tier. It's an honor to have her in a Bearcat uniform, and I'm not telling any Binghamton fans what you don't already know, is that she will go down as one of the greatest Binghamton Bearcats student athletes in the history of the school, and one of the greatest women's basketball athletes ever to touch a Binghamton University jersey. So great stuff, and great stuff for the future, and great stuff with the student athletes. And a shout out to Jaden and Genevieve and the entire team for Binghamton University, to take nothing away from every single person on the squad that fought like crazy against a main team last night and was playing with freshmen going up against veterans on the other side and coming within just a couple possessions. So this Binghamton Bearcats team, folks, understand, win or lose, they are fighters and they are a force to be reckoned with, and I suggest that you go and you watch them every chance you get. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll be back with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's, right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level, is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is open 7 days a week for your sports card and trading card needs, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You will find everything that you need there. If you've never been a sports card or trading card collector, it's a great place to start. And if you've been doing it for years, it's a great place to continue collecting the cards that you love with baseball, football, basketball, all sport, as well as hockey, soccer, and more, including the Disney Lorcana series and Pokemon. You can find so many different things, from singles to graded cards to packs to boxes. They're constantly bringing things in. I went in just a few days ago, and right after I went in, they had new inventory. And after the Disney Lorcana Into the Inkland series came out, the third series for Disney Lorcana's trading card game, after, like the day that came out, they had so much at GG Cards and Breaks. They had the mats, they had the boxes, they had the sleeves, and of course they had the booster packs and the starter decks and all the different ways to interact with the game. And then a bunch of that stuff was bought. And then I went in on Sunday, and they had replenished everything. So get in there before it's gone. That's the great thing about GG Cards and Breaks, is in the time that I've worked with them, which is less than a year, I see them evolve. They've been evolving in the short time that we've worked together. And to the entire team, Josh and Anthony, Joel and Alex and everybody there, they work so hard to make sure that you have an awesome experience. When I walk in there, I never know what I'm going to find. And that's the beauty of it. It's like going on a treasure hunt every day, every week. GG Cards and Breaks, folks. It gets you closer to the players and the teams that you love. It gets you closer to the characters that you grew up watching and that you love to see. It's a way to connect that can only be done through sports card and trading card collecting. It's a way to connect with the things that matter to us that is in such a unique approach that it's lasted through decade upon decade upon decade of time. So I suggest you get out to GG Cards and Breaks and experience the difference on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. And of course, they are open 7 days a week. Like I said, they are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Let them know that DT sent you when you get there. with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, it looks like I'm in heaven right now. So we're working with some different lighting here in the studio this morning and trying out some different things. As you see, we have an open air studio now, so I can showcase so many different things. We added a Binghamton Bearcat rally towel that we have here now, so show that off here as we just did the Bearcat Breakroom. But there's a lot of things that I wanted to showcase and put out here in the studio. And so now that I have so much more space, we have this shelving here that goes all the way around in our studio, and then we have the desk that comes out with all the different things that I can put here, and then we have our desk here that we can, bring up and bring down and move around and whatnot. So it allows me the opportunity to do some really cool things here in the studio on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I love it. So, we're working with the lighting, we're working with the Italian ways of me, Italian Hispanic ways of me. And what that essentially means is that I like to walk around. And because I like to walk around, now that I have an open air studio and I have the ability to do exactly that, it's been a lot of fun. So we've been, just kind of figuring out what works and what looks good and what we like here in the studios here. So thank you for navigating with us and getting to see all of this new stuff that we have and all of these amazing things that we get to feature here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, including featuring the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. It is literally walking distance to Liverpool High School, extremely easy to get to. It is at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. They've been there for decades, serving the community for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Of course, if you are of age, please drink responsibly. And if you're underage, please don't drink at all. So make sure that you go over to Avicolli's and enjoy their fine dining side as well as their casual dining side. And of course, they have their full bar area as well, once again, for those that are of age. So make sure you get over to Avicolli's and experience them on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. And of course, Avicolli's, you can also connect with them through catering, takeout, and delivery by calling 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Get in touch with them for takeout, delivery, and catering. Every single Tuesday, we round out the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the awesome team at Avicolli's. And speaking of team, our theme for this Ingredients to Success episode is finding wins in losses. Finding wins in losses. Well, Dan, how can you win in a loss? Well, have you lived life up to this point? Because you haven't won everything. You didn't win, when you wanted to date that girl or you wanted to take that guy to prom, you didn't always get it, right? So maybe you consider that an L. Maybe you consider that a loss. You didn't maybe win on every single test that you took, right? Sometimes you get that good grade, and sometimes no matter how hard you study, you didn't quite get the grade that you wanted. So in life, we don't always win. In life, we don't always get what we want. When you open up a pack of cards and you're looking for that Caitlin Clark rookie autograph, so I'm not clearing my throat trying to show you that that's exactly what I'm waiting for those of you that don't know what sarcasm is. So, but in my world, I haven't always won in every card pack. I haven't always won with every job, that I applied for, and didn't always win when I asked that girl out. So we don't always win, folks. You don't always win when you're trying to get that parking spot right up front. You don't always win when you're trying to weave through traffic. So how do you find wins and losses when you don't get essentially what you want? Like, I'm 38 years old. I thought I was going to have my first kid when I was 25. That was my thing in my head. At like as a little kid growing up, I'm like, when I'm 25 years old, I'll be married and I'll have my first kid, right? You kind of write down your little thoughts. I won't call it a vision board because I just don't call it that. So, but I would say to myself, like, this is what I want. This is what I'm hoping for. And this, these are my thoughts. But you see the shirt that I'm wearing now that says Godfather and Godson. And then you see the bumping of fists and it says best friends for life. Well, this is what I'm talking about here in finding wins in losses. I thought that I was going to be a father. I thought at 25 years old I was going to have my first kid, and I had thoughts that I would have 2 or 3 kids. I don't have any human children, but I do have a daughter, Lily. So finding wins and losses, right? I could take it as a loss and say, why am I not married with kids? Or I can find the win. Lily has been given to me by God, and she is my daughter. And it's like she's a dog and I'm a human being, and yet I don't know if many know me better than her. And I love the way that she communicates, and I love the way that she loves. Because a great soul is a great soul wherever God put it. And, I know some people in the here and now might be more open to saying, oh yeah, your dogs and your cats and your animals that you have, they are your kids or your siblings. But growing up, I had Mordu and Cinnamon as my siblings, and I had Shady. And the first time I ever got to be a dad to bringing home a dog is to Lily, and she's made me a very proud father. So I can look at it and say, I don't have any biological human kids, right? Or I can look at it and say, I get to be Lily's dad every single day. I can look at it and say, I don't have any human kids of my own. Or I can look at the fact that I'm a godfather to the best godson ever in Noah. Or the fact that a couple days ago, I went to visit my family, Johnny and Aaron, and there's my godson / nephew, Noah, and there's, my niece, Ari, and Ari's sitting on my lap the whole time telling me stories, talking about the X-Men, which is Aaron and Johnny get the best parents ever award. Let's just put it, because Noah loves Spider-Man and Ari loves the X-Men, and I feel like those are the right decisions to make. So, so I'm sitting there with my niece and my nephew, and then I have my nieces down in Florida, Gracie and Carly, and my nephew up in heaven. God bless you, Carter. And then Carter with a K. And then I have Carter here on earth, and I have Emily. And, then I look at LJ and Lorelai, and I've been spoiled. I've been spoiled to have in Sequoia and Dakota, to have these nieces and nephews. So finding a win and a loss, I live that every day. I thought I was going to be a dad by this point to a human being. I'm a dad to Lily, and I wouldn't trade her for the world. And I've jokingly but seriously said, I hope I have a son if I have a human child, because I already have a favorite daughter and her name is Lily. And that's the truth. It's no offense to a future daughter. It's just the truth. Lily is my first kid, and I love her to pieces more than I can ever tell anybody. So to me, I didn't lose because I'm not married with kids. I won with Lily. I won that my friends have made me Uncle Dan. The fact that I have friends that have told their children from birth, this is your uncle. This is your family. We want you to know him as family. He's not daddy's friend or mommy's friend. This is your Uncle Dan. And I walk through the door and it's Uncle Dan, Uncle Dan, Uncle Dan. And so to me, if I never have human kids of my own, look at all my nieces and nephews. I got to tuck in my niece and nephew on Sunday night. And I thought to myself, I would come here and do this every single night. Like, if Johnny and Aaron needed me to, I would come here every single day and tuck them in. So how is that not winning? I woke up this morning, Lily's in bed, and I picked her up, and and I put her next to me, and I held her, and I just laid there with her in my arms. And I thought to myself, how human is this dog? And just how loving is it? She just like wants to be with her dad. So to me, we find plenty of wins in our losses. Right? I was married. Thought I was going to have a family and kids, and then realized I wasn't married to the right person. Did I lose? No, because for the last 6 years, I've discovered myself. I've become a better version of myself. I've become a healthier version of myself. So, folks, what we sometimes think is a loss is maybe just a win that's taking some time. You know, as long as you're alive and God put breath in your lungs, that's a win. You know, and if you've given everything you possibly could in your life, and you've tried to be a good person, and you've tried to help people and just bring about positivity to the world, then in my opinion, when God says it's time to come home, that's a win too. Because you're not leaving any stone unturned, and you're going back home to a place where you'll feel no pain anymore. So, to me, is death a loss when you live life to the fullest? No. When a loved one passes away, is that a loss? No, because they're always with you. I don't feel like I lost my grandmother. I know where she is. I don't feel like I lost my other grandma or my grandfathers or my friends. I know where they are. They're at home with God. I didn't lose anybody. I just don't get to physically see them. But they come to me all the time. My grandfather, my mom's dad, my Papa Cavino, he comes to me in our numbers all the time, 21 and 13, God and him. My other grandfather comes to me through Miller that he used to work for. I felt my Gammy, you know, my dad's mom, my Gammy Miller, you know, her hold my arm in church and, you know, grab me and say, I'm so proud of you. And I've seen her big smile and I've heard her voice. A couple weeks ago, I was hearing her laugh. I was remembering her laugh. My G Mama, I look to the passenger seat of my car and I see her sitting there eating pizza. And, you know, I talk about her all the time and I hear her words all the time. And, you know, recently I've been really thinking about the song that she would always use to tell you know, people how much she loves you. And she would look at me and she would say, I love you a bushel and a peck. And then she would go, and a squeeze around the neck. She would always do that squeeze with her voice. So when loved ones pass away, did we lose? No. Because we know them. And they're back home with God. So they won and we won. We miss them, but they're winning. We got to know them and have them in our lives. So we're winning. I'm Lily's dad. I'm winning. I'm Noah's godfather. I'm winning. To all my nieces and nephews that I have in my life, and to all of the people that have made me their brother and they're part of their family, I'm winning. I wake up every single day and I do what I love. My biggest problem this morning was to figure out the lighting in the studio that I own, of the job that I love, of working for my own company, chasing my dreams every day. And I am ecstatic 20 years in to broadcast. And I am ecstatic about all these other dreams that I have. I'm a little kid all over again. I won. So folks, if it hasn't happened yet, if that thing hasn't come to fruition yet, if you haven't gotten what you want yet, understand that life takes time. But as long as you're working toward it, don't sit in complacency. Don't wait for somebody else to live your dreams for you or to do the things that you want to do. Live your life to the fullest and understand that you win every single day. When you wake up, you thank God for waking you up. You know that it's a blessing to wake up, and that whatever happens that day will not destroy the fact that it is a blessing to wake up. No matter how bad you think your day is, you woke up. Cherish your moments with your loved ones. Cherish the time that you have. Give everything you got to everything you can. And be smart. And understand that when you wake up in the morning and you give your best effort and you learn things from your past and you use your knowledge and wisdom and put it into action, and you chase your dreams and you chase your goals and you make plans to go after what you want, and then you ad-lib and you kick butt with that too, and you give yourself a little break to take a little vacation, whether it's a drive or you go to some island somewhere. Understand that you are winning in life. No matter how many losses you believe you've taken, no matter how many losses you have endured, the greatest champions of life are the ones that get up every single day after a loss and they keep playing. So don't quit. Ever. These have been the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. You will find Avicolli's there, open Tuesday through Sunday. They are closed on Mondays, so Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Drink responsibly. And, of course, on 7839 Oswego Road, you could find them right there on site down the road from Liverpool High School. It is the home of our Liverpool Warriors monthly broadcasts with the athletic department. And, of course, you can also find them for takeout, delivery, and catering by calling 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. And you can go to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. If you go to wakeupcalldt.com, underneath the partners tab, and you click on Avicolli's, you will find them right there too. You click on Avicolli's, and you can order off of my website. So make sure that you do that. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break to wrap up the show right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora wants to thank you for tuning in to the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage where you can find everything. So youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. All of those awesome live feeds are available by bookmarking and subscribing to YouTube, but to our wakeupcalldt.com website. That's wakeupcalldt.com. All of our channels, YouTube, Facebook, and Podbean, are all on the homepage to make it super easy for all of you wherever you are in the world. And with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in to us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, as well as on Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicolli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Dolphins, you will find Lemoyne during Dolphin Time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, happening Wednesdays weekly at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. First and third Wednesday of each month with AD and DT. Second, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta, AD, and myself, Dan Tortora, DT, talking about the behind the scenes of Lemoyne College and the athletic department, breaking news, and giving you exclusives all throughout the year. And of course, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, we have the Dolphin Dive, diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You will find your Dolphins all throughout the many programs on the Heights at Lemoyne College in our Dolphin Dive exclusives. All of this content can be found by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and the notification bell, and you'll find our Lemoyne playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Dolphins by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and to the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And as always, Fins Up, and a congratulations to the women's basketball team making history. Watch all of our videos coming up on social media today. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcats in Bobcat Buzz, happening every single month on Wake Up Call, happening yesterday in our bonus broadcast of the show as we reached out to Tay Baker, the women's basketball head coach of Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, following the history that was made for the team winning their first ever USCAA Division I national tournament game, which sent them to the Final Four of this year's tournament, which they fell by just a few possessions, 90-81 in the Final Four. Awesome game, extremely strong effort by the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse women's basketball program, men's and women's basketball, as well as esports, baseball, and men's and women's soccer, all told here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining us in the Bobcat Buzz every single month in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell, as well as check out our BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. And you can also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The Southern Tier gets a spotlight unlike anything they've had before, with the Binghamton University Bearcats having Bearcat Time every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, each month featuring Moments with Marshall, with Athletics Director of Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, giving us a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on at Binghamton University and in the athletic department as a whole. The Bearcat Breakroom, which you saw today, features student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year telling their wonderful stories, and we get to learn about their journey and get an inside look at who they are in a way that you won't find anywhere else. The Bearcat Breakroom featuring the wonderful, wonderful people that make up the Binghamton University Athletic Department. Today featuring the women's basketball team with head coach Bethann Shapiro-Ord and star Denai Bowman. Big time thanks to all of them. You can find all of our Binghamton University content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, clicking subscribe, hitting the notification bell, and checking out the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com, and you can find them on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com, as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning in with us here inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Ma and Pa's, speaking of what's poppin', they got freeze-dried candy now, and it will give you the flavors of your childhood. If you're like me and you're in your 30s, maybe you're in your 40s, late 20s, you know about these candies. And if you're a little kid, you probably know about them too. Those flavors that you love so very much. Well, I'll tell you this right now. The freeze-dried rainbow rounds, as well as the brain busters, the Mambos, and the fruit bursts, all of them. So very good. Go and try the newest addition to Ma and Pa's, that being the freeze-dried candy on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, as well as their old-fashioned caramel corn, which my grandmother, I know, would love to have some of that. So the old-fashioned caramel corn to all of their kettle corn, their premium corns like the Elvis that I love, which is banana-flavored popcorn topped off with Reese's peanut butter. Get out. It's so good. And their cotton candy, everything is made there in-house. They're constantly putting things together. You can call them for your fundraiser as well. So make sure you get in touch with Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And of course, for Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, if you'd like to have them for your fundraiser, call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Big time shout out to the Bell family, to JoJo, and the entire team at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Thank you for tuning in to our NFL Move coverage. What's going on in the NFL? The transactions that are shaking up the entire National Football League. Big time thanks to our Bearcat Breakroom double guest here that we had today from women's basketball, head coach Bethann Shapiro-Ord and Denai Bowman, graduate guard on the team. And of course, a big time thanks as always to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success today, speaking about winning in losses. A lot of great stuff coming up the rest of the week on the show. I appreciate you tremendously. All of our Lemoyne specials are coming up. Our special from the NEC tournament with Lemoyne making history. Stonehill, I have multiple Q&A pieces with their head coach, Tricia, as well as the fact that I will be featuring Sid Lesher, as well as Sierra Lennon and LaToya Baker, and head coach Mary Grimes of the Lemoyne College Dolphins in videos going up on our social media today. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and on YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT. So make sure to subscribe there as well. Have a fantastic day, everybody. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. And remember that in every loss, there's a victory. You just got to look for it. Stay positive.